All right, welcome in for the fantasy portion of this week's edition of Four Down the Field podcast. Jeremy, obviously supporting you today in your mental health evaluation that is looming. Obviously, I I love you, Jeremy, but we gotta talk about this. We might as well just talk about it right now. Uh, I just think honestly, you could have gotten a much better back than somebody who hasn't stayed healthy and now you're expecting to get high volume with him still staying healthy. I just think you could have gotten a much better reliable back, especially because running backs are kind of like we've talked about, like at a premium because there's not many out there, but there's a lot of wide receivers. I just think you could have gotten a better haul than J.K. Dobbins. But obviously, you have a different opinion, so let's hear it.
Yeah, I think for my team, it was more of I got no running back. I needed to make a trade. It was really your team or Jim's that had running backs. I agree with the injury history, but it's like I figured with Harbaugh, the amount of runs they're going to do, he's just going to get a ton of volume. He's got like 300 yards rushing already. Obviously, I went all in on backup running backs or guys that I thought that would be PPR. Like the Raiders running back situation's a mess. The Broncos, Tajay Spears sucks. Yeah, my team kind of sucks. And I got him. I'm on Ra, so I'm like, okay, I got a wide receiver in one. Eventually, Cup will come back, but I just needed a running back.
I
And
know,
looking
man.
at Jim's team, but I'm 0-3, and I needed to make a deal. But
I
so
just
looking at Jim's team, it's like, okay, he's not going to trade me Cook. Aaron Jones, I feel like he's having a great year, but
it
I'm
didn't
like,
have to be, but no one said it had to be. You had to trade with Jim.
oh, I know. I'm just telling you his running back situation. And
I
then it
just
was
think I just think and people think you severely undervalued Harrison. I think where you have him obviously in your head isn't where the majority of people have them because you wouldn't have given him up for just J.K. Dobbins. I think that's what the point was that we were trying to make earlier today. But you think he's going to get high volume and maybe it works out for you. He's off to a good start this year. So you never know with fantasy. So you just have to wait and see, I guess.
yeah. But so let's talk about your trade then, Rob.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So Brenna's been complaining about Anthony Richardson ever since obviously the first week when I think he put up 30 points. Obviously he's kind of looked terrible. I think he's gotten like six interceptions the last I think two games. Um, making bad mistakes, not throwing anything reliable. That's why Pittman sucks right now is because they're just either running the football or Richardson's just throwing it downfield. So he just hasn't really looked like I think people have been expecting to see. Obviously, we talked about it every week of this pod. Like she hasn't had a running back too.
Yep.
So I give her that. She already had Jamal Williams, so it was a nice little addition to her team. Now she's solidified that backfield. Derek Carr gives her, a different option at quarterback. Maybe a spark that she needs. And I gave her Jalen Reed, who I think is the top receiver with Green Bay. They find different ways to give him the ball. And Lad McConkey, he's one of those route running type wide receivers that just feasts in PPR. So, and then yeah, obviously I was deep at running back, and I felt like I could get rid of one, and I was deep enough at wide receiver to give up as many players as I did in the trade. But I think ultimately both teams got better. I think her team's kind of more well rounded now, and that's kind of the strategy that I did. But like when I drafted so heavy at running back, I knew I was going to try to make a trade to improve like where I couldn't get premium players like in the draft. So I'm pretty happy about it, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, that kind of
And getting Justice Hill was big for me too. Like I got Derrick Henry, so I got that handcuff. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not even projected. I'm not even gonna. I think start Goff or Richardson this week. Darnold somehow. I would imagine someone would have picked up Darnold um, off free agency, but I mean, I'll pick him up. He's been lighting it up so far. I'm kind of trying to find my quarterback. I feel like when I'm looking at my roster, like I like who I have, but I do know that right now, like quarterback isn't a position where I'm expecting to go off at right now. So that's like I think my weakness at the moment. That and tight end.
Yeah.
All right, well let's go into the recap of last week's matchups. I'll start with mine against Jack. Yeah, my team did really go off. Jack really didn't get anything with Connor. Detroit's defense against running backs is just shutting running backs down. We saw that in that game. Mike Evans, only 2 receptions for 17 yards. I mean, Mike Evans, I feel like has those duds sometimes, but the fact that he can always go for like 30 points is something that you always want in the roster or in the lineup. Yeah, CD Lamb only had 4 catches for 67 yards and he had a fumble. I mean, Jack's team just it was a dud week for Jack, but he still got 118. I feel like that's his floor. He has a good squad. But my team, yeah, just been playing pretty good so far this season. But you see Derek Carr less than 10 points last week for me. It's kind of like that quarterback thing I was talking about. So, but yeah, it was a big win for me. Jeff, 129 beat Shane 105. Shane's team, what is he now? Is he 1-2? I think so. And Jeff's team's
Yeah.
obviously just built. Like we're obviously going to talk about the power rankings later, but like there's there's number one in the power rankings, then there's Jeff. Like Jeff's team is just so stacked right now. But we'll talk about that. He was obviously too much for Shane. Shane's going to look for a rebound this week. Your matchup, Jeremy. You can go ahead and talk about it real quick.
Yeah, just to reflect on your matchup with Jack, great win. Way to take down Jack, who, let's be real, his team's floundering as well. We got a lot of crappy teams in this league with one win and some with zero. But yep, good win by you, Rob. And then yeah, Shane took it in the chin against Jeff, who 129, very respectable. You're gonna win most matchups. And yeah, I'm playing Shane this week. And but yeah, as far as my matchup, what can I say? Alyssa was up on me huge. Jaden Daniels did a good job clawing back and getting 30 points on Monday night, but too little, too late. My on, at my team, it's just like I had 10 points, 9.5 points between my running backs. So it's like honestly, I could have just murdered them all. So yeah, I just needed a running back, and yeah, your team was stacked, and so was Jim's, and we got the trade wins going. So, J.K. Dobbins hopefully gets 150 and a touchdown, and I get him swirling in the wins again. But yeah, my team stinks, and I needed to make a move. But Alyssa, she had great performances from her wide receivers, and Kyron Williams had a day. So, um, as far as the league's concerned, Jaden Daniels has been my surprise sort of performer of the year. And
Hmm.
St. Brown's been pretty good, except that first week. And yeah, Harrison, I just felt like, meh, screw it. I can just cut it with him, and I just need a running back. So it is what it is. We'll see how it works out this week, but that's kind of where I'm at in that matchup.
Yeah, Travis Kelsey has been yeah, just disappointed, you know, if you're a fantasy owner of him. So yeah, you're hoping to do something with him, Jeremy. Next matchup, Adam lost to Drew. Drew got in the win column last week. Good performances from pretty much really everybody except Worthy and McBride. Obviously, the Raiders defense didn't provide much, but he made it up with Butker getting 13. 136 is a pretty high number. Adam, yeah, Zay Flowers. I'm not really on the steel bandwagon. We're going to talk about that. But yeah, it was just a good week by Drew. He needed to get in the win column and he delivered. Jim stayed undefeated. He beat Brenna. Obviously, Brenna, look at the roster. We talk about the running back too. That Jamal Williams, who she started, is now going to be Alvin Kamara. So that helps her team out tremendously. She still's got Garrett Wilson and Ayuk, and she now has Lad McConkey, and
Makaki.
Jaden Reed. So I think her team got overall better. She kind of got depth she needed to. Her auto draft when she was at that concert just took too many people, I think, in the draft that were going to be out for a long while or potentially not even going to play this year. They were just going off of like the ranking or something like best available. You know what I mean? So she
Yeah,
was
yeah.
climbing uphill to begin with. So, but yeah, Jim stays undefeated there.
Yeah, Jim with the lowest scoring winner of the week. So he definitely got lucky. I mean, even your good old boy Jeremy would have beat Jim this week. So we'll see if he can keep this keep his winning streak going. But yeah, I do. I like the trade. I like we had a blockbuster trade in the league. I think it did improve both rosters. Think overall it seemed relative. I mean, it was kind of like it was Kamara for Jefferson and then kind of everyone else. But
Yeah, depending on how you look at it, you could break it
yeah,
up probably a number of different ways. But
right.
I
But
felt
it's
like it was pretty fair. I looked
yeah,
at numerous trade, and it just made sense for both teams. So it was a good trade.
no, I agree. So yeah, we'll see if Brenna can her and I can get out of the losers bucket here and get in the win column. But yeah, good week, Jim. Get a new team name or trade for Lamar.
Yep. Britta's laying right next to me. Our soothing voice is talking about fantasy football is resting her while we have football on TV. Last matchup to recap was Marty fell. It might have been his low point so far this year. Not even getting to 91 points. Bird with a good week, 131. Burrow's starting to look pretty good. I know the Bengals are struggling right now, but Burrow and Chase are starting to look good as a tandem that's helping Burrow in fantasy. Gibbs, Beast, Ezekiel Elliott. Who's his? Oh, okay, he's got Walker and Mostert. They didn't play. Yeah, he's hurt right now at running back. He needs to get healthy, but he was able to get the win though. Bird's team's been doing pretty decent the last couple of weeks. He's trying to get some momentum going into this week's matchup against. I believe he's playing. Yeah, he's playing Jim this week. So why don't we
Whoa.
go? Why don't we go right into that matchup? Little segue there. All right. So right now we got Prescott going, Dallas defense going, and Aubrey going for Jim right now in this Thursday night football game. And Bird's got Ezekiel Elliott. Jeremy, I'm sure you got the matchup pulled up right now. Obviously, the percentages are going heavily in Jim's way right now. Um, I had
Oh
a
yeah.
feeling Prescott was going to play really good in this game. I actually got a same game parlay going right now. That I'm actually for a half. I'm doing really good. $20 to win over 900. So let's go. We're all
Let's
rooting for Malik
go.
Neighbors touchdown, Shane, because that's going to help me. We all want me to make some money. So, yeah, but I'm going to go with Jim in this matchup, though. I mean, we've been talking about Jim's team. I feel like he even got more depth at wide receiver, if you could believe it. Obviously, now he's got Harrison. He's stacked at wide receiver. I'm sure he's going to be trying to trade for running back soon. But yeah, I'm going to go Jim in this one.
Yeah, Jim. We both said on the earlier podcast we thought Dallas was going to have a good performance, and Dak is already halfway there, so we get that to get to see that. But yeah, it's tough with Bird. Yeah, he's got Gibbs. That's a good back, but yeah, then he's got Elliott, and yeah, you talked about the injury woes. So yeah,
I
it's
mean,
tough out there in fantasy for running backs. It's like unless you're Rob, who drafted every running back known to mankind, and Jim, there are a couple other teams. Obviously,
Jeff
Jeff.
Jeff
Yeah.
has Jeff has a good Jeff stacked at running back right now.
So really, we got the teams with the running backs seem to be the key. But yeah, I'm gonna just go with Bird. Realistically, he's gonna have to have a crazy game from one of his players to really contend with Jim this week. So I see Jimmy coming out with the victory.
All right, we both got Jim. Next matchup, we got it's Drew playing Marty. Marty's got Singletary going right now. Only player going in this matchup. Singletary's got 4.6 points at the moment. The Giants keep having to kick field goals. I doubt that the Giants are going to get down near the goal line where I think he would get a touchdown. So I don't see a touchdown coming from Singletary. Um, yeah, Baltimore, we already talked about it in the previous pod. We talked about how Buffalo can't really stop the run. I see Jackson having a lot of points on the ground as well, probably throwing for a touchdown or two in the air. I see him doing very good in fantasy this week. Um, Najee Harris and Hubbard, I feel like both have looked pretty decent as of late. Hubbard, I think, is going to get better with Andy Dalton playing quarterback. Might make him more valuable. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Drew in this one. I don't like Zach Charbonnet and his flex though. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Playing Detroit, I wouldn't want to play. He might be having to. He's so banged up on his bench. Hmm.
Oh, Drew, he's used to getting banged up on the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm still gonna go Drew, but yeah, he probably doesn't want to play Charbonnet this week, but he might have to.
So we're going to talk about one of the worst, trying to prior Super Bowl winners, Drew's team. He got very lucky last week. I didn't comment on that earlier. Adam definitely should have beat him. So I expect Marty to pull out the W here. Yeah, Drew's team is hurting. Drew, I just offered you a trade for McCaffrey. You might want to run it by your website or Jack or whatever you use. Because, yeah, Drew, great first overall pick. I'm glad he's contributed 0 points to your fantasy team this year. Just a great pick. But yeah, I think Marty's going to have the victory. I like Brees Hall. Cole Kmet's coming back strong. Hopefully Stevenson can rebound from Martz, but big week for Marty to see if he can go to 3-1, and I expect Drew to get another loss. The only way I could see Drew contending is he obviously needs Achane on his team. You've got McCaffrey. There's a logical trade. You could trade with Jeff or obviously anyone else. I mean, I just sent you a trade for McCaffrey. I expect you to accept it. I traded you all of my shitty backup running backs. But
Well,
Drew, do something.
I will say this, like, is his team good enough to win a couple games before McCaffrey comes back? Maybe in I don't know, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. Like, can he go 2-2 in the next 4 weeks? Like with the lineup that he has, like right now, that's the question that he's asking himself. Because if the answer is no, he needs to make a move now. If the answer is yes, then I think he holds pat, and I think he holds on to McCaffrey. So, but yeah, I mean, he's thinned out. Like, he can't afford any other bad things to happen to his roster, like right now. So yeah, he's in a bad spot. He needs a win. His team's going to respond this week. I think he gets it done.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the Niners schedule, and based upon that cryptic tweet from Shanahan, it seems like, okay, so he'll be out a couple more weeks. Or it wasn't a tweet, it was somebody copied his statement from the
Yeah,
press
reporter.
conference. But yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So anyway, it's like they got the
precisely.
Patriots, the Cardinals, at the Seahawks, home against KC, home against Dallas, and then a bye. So it's like, okay, is this a 1 month injury or going to be a 2 month injury? You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. Drew, he might not be back till week 10 against Tampa Bay.
It's Christian
Um,
McCaffrey. Honestly, it's always possible he doesn't even play this year. I'm dead serious. If something happens while he's out, like getting, going through physical therapy and like workouts and stuff, if anything goes worse with him, like they might say, nope, not this year. Jordan Mason ain't looking too bad, and if it's gonna be something that makes it hard for him, like in the future, if he can get hurt worse, like he won't even come back this year. So you never know about that.
Drew's
That's
first
not what
overall
Drew
pick.
wants to hear, but that's a reality that I know Drew's probably at least thought about.
Drew
But
doesn't think a lot with fantasy football. You can tell by his roster. His team sucks.
all right, we're gonna go to Alyssa against Brenna. This is split right down the middle as of right now. No one playing on Thursday night football currently. Um, yeah, quarterbacks both NFC South: Carr, Mayfield, Kyren. It's going to be a tight one. I'm going to say, looking at this, I'm curious to see if Deontay Johnson looks anything like he did last week because Andy Dalton, I think, targeted him like 14 times or something ridiculous, and he went
Yeah,
off
he
last
was
week.
the one that got most of the action. Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
8
he went
catches,
off.
122 a tutty, and 14 targets.
Yeah, that's insane. That's a lot of volume. Curious to see if that repeats. I
The
do
red
think
rifle.
Cincinnati's secondary is pretty good though, so I don't think that will repeat. I'm gonna go with Brenna only because I know that she needs a win. Alyssa got hers last week. There's a couple other people that are trying to get theirs. I'm going to go with Brenna and getting her first win this week.
This is a tough
I tell you
matchup.
what, Deontay Johnson is interesting right now because that's has potential to be a lot of value with the new quarterback with what happened
Right.
last week.
Because it's like they got Thielen, who I think might have gotten injured.
Well,
They got that rookie Xavier Leggett, another guy, Centavio Mixon, or what the fuck his name is,
right,
Mingo. So
right.
yeah, somebody's going to be the number one. Deontay Johnson wasn't a slouch in Pittsburgh. He kind of fell off the radar last season, but yeah, Alyssa's got a nice little maybe hidden gem wide receiver one. But I think I'm going to take Brenna. I like the trade she made to improve her team.
Yeah, talk about the Panthers real quick. You kind of just like listed their wide receivers.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty decent young squad of receivers. Like they're all fast. It
Yep.
just makes me wonder if Carolina's going to transform into a respectable offense now with Bryce Young no longer playing.
Well, that's the thing with the quarterback position. You can be a veteran and come in like Dalton, and
Oh yeah. Well, honestly, it's Bryce Young got threw into the fire like right away on a shitty team. Like that is the worst thing
the
you could
worst.
possibly do to somebody. But yeah, worst trade ever. They screwed themselves. Whatever. Next
Well,
matchup though, we got Jack playing Adam. This is a big matchup. Jack's trying to get back to 500. Adam is 2-1. We got CD Lamb going right now. Obviously, it's almost halftime. And he's
he's
already
having
got Jack 22.4 points. I think we both expected something like this. We've been talking about how we like Dallas and Dak. Obviously, we like Dak and Dallas and we like CD. So no surprises were with that as of right now in this game. Uh sorry, I'm watching that play. It was 3rd and 12. Um but yeah, let's talk about this matchup though. Josh Allen's just been an absolute stud, right? Kyler Murray's been playing great. Washington is not good against wide receivers, so you could expect somebody like Marvin Harrison to have a good week this weekend. So that would help Kyler out. Barkley, no AJ Brown, maybe no Devonta Smith. Barkley could get a large dose this weekend, especially if the inside line on Tampa Bay is still damaged from playing the Lions the other week. That could be a big game for Barkley. I am not a big fan of Steele. Obviously, he might get in the end zone, but I just think they're going to have a running back by committee, or like I said last week, they're going to do some more passes along like the line of scrimmage as a way for like a run game. I don't see Carson Steele being a big fantasy scorer in that offense, but we'll see. Metcalf, big game against Detroit. I think he'll get his. Does he get a touchdown? I hope not. But in a game that I think it might be hard for them to run the football, I think Metcalf will get a large target share, large volume on Monday night. Flowers in a high scoring game. I think a lot of things that I'm seeing that I'm listing is Diggs against Jacksonville. Like I'm saying, like I like Adams matchups this week. I know Jack's off to a really good start with Lamb. He's got Allen. When I think this is gonna be an interesting matchup. Um, I'm gonna go with Adam though. I am. I'm gonna go with Adam, even though CD Lamb's going off, and you go Josh Allen on Sunday Night Football. But I think there's a lot of things Adam might get some boomers this week. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Adam.
I'm going to agree with you there. Jack's team, I think, is in turmoil. And Yeah, he's been plummeting down my power rankings
His
since we.
team's his team's not bad at all. It's getting turmoil.
He's 1-2. He's
He's
one loss
projected.
away
He's
from being in
projected for
last
almost.
place.
He's currently projected for almost 150, like on Thursday Night Football after one half. His team's in turmoil.
It is. There's no other way to put it. You
Well,
know.
let's. What has Jack's last couple scores have been? Let's talk about it.
Well, let's see. Week 1, he escaped because of the
Last week,
injury bug. He got to
last week,
McCaffrey.
last
Yep.
week 1-8. Last week 118. 2 weeks ago 121, and week 131. So he's probably averaging like around 126, 127 points per game right now. I wouldn't say his team's in turmoil right now, but I know that was more of a shot than being realistic. But
Hey,
we,
shots can be realistic as well. I'm always forecasting out here. That's part of what we do on the pod, but we'll see. Jack, yes, clearly a 145 projection right now is pretty big. At
I
this point, CD Lamb's on pace for 12 catches, 188 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
yeah, I think this is going to be a high scoring matchup. I think it's going to be a
Yeah,
high scoring matchup.
I'm picking Adam. Campbell's
Yeah,
Kool-Aid.
I am too, but I'm going off of just the looking at the matchups. I think certain players have a higher chance to boom. That's Adam. I'm going to
Yeah.
go that way. I could be wrong.
Well, I think Kyler Murray's going to have a bounce back week. Washington, you saw they were in a shootout against Cincy on Monday. Barkley's going to be the main guy for the Eagles since they got some injuries. Carson Steele, one of the porn star brothers, we'll see how he turns out in the Chargers game. But yeah, I like basically those couple players from Adam. We'll see what Jack does, but yeah, Jack, feel free to treat CD Lamb. I could always maybe just do a straight up J.K. Dobbins for CD Lamb and call it a day.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting matchup. By the way, I am 15-3 so far this year in picks in fantasy football. So if you don't like the picks that I've been giving up to this point, you get upset. Trust me, it's not personal. It's just business. We're talking. This podcast is going to go big one day, and Jeremy and I got to be legit. So don't take it personal. Jeremy,
Well,
so I'm 15-3 in my picks, like I mentioned, and now we're going to move to your matchup, Jeremy.
oh my God, against
So I
Shane.
want you to take the floor and explain to me why you will win this week and get in the win column for the first time this year.
Well, Jaden Daniels has shown he's a star. So he's going to drop another 25, 30 points. J.K. Dobbins, did I reach for him? I don't really know. I needed somebody to play this week, and that was the guy that I ended up landing on. So I expect him to continue to get the volume. We'll see with the Chargers and that injury to Herbert, but it is what it is. I need a back that is volume. I think Amon-Ra's due for a breakout. As far as Kelsey, can only just pray that he gets his shit together. Ultimately, that's the guy I need to do something. I mean, it's unbelievable. For the entire season, he has 8 catches for 69 yards. I mean, good for you hitting on 69, but what are you doing, dude? So, one thing I have heard just from different, sports shit I listen to is, hey, I think it's Valenti probably basically saying, oh, the NFL is duped to you. These first few weeks are preseason. Well, I guess what he's really saying is the offenses aren't clicking. Ultimately, that's
That's
really what
that,
that means.
that's exactly what he's saying. Yeah,
Yeah, he's just. But ultimately, Kelsey needs to get going. I can't even explain it. One thing is, it's like he's definitely on the back half of his career, but 8 catches, 69 yards. I expect that to be your average per game, not over 3 weeks. So get your shit together, Kelsey. Shane's got a decent team. Jamar Chase coming back's huge for him. Neighbors already got 10.5 points at half. He's got questionable RB2, but we'll see. Stroud's kind of underperformed this year in fantasy. Obviously, the Texans are doing all right as a team, but yeah, my team, we need a prayer. I'm going to pick myself.
Yeah, this matchup is going to be close. Um, it's going to come down to who's going to have that one player like do what's not like out of like expectation. It's going to be close. I'm going to go with Shane. I'm going to go with Shane in a close lower scoring matchup. Whoever gets the player to go off wins this matchup. Sorry, Jeremy. Hopefully your team turns it around, man.
Yeah, but I need to look at the positives. I can get into the playoffs with 5 wins, I think, or 6. So just got to claw my way there.
Just gotta get healthy.
Or draft
That
better.
brings to this week's matchup of the week. It's Tupac Shakir against Bend the Knee.
Ooh.
Both undefeated teams. I've been talking about Jeff's team all year about just being great. I mean, I'm looking at his roster. Hurts, Bijan, Mason, Nico, Godwin, Goddard, Achan, bench, Higgins, Ridley showed out, and he's got Pollard. He's got 4 good backs with a good quarterback, a tight end that is going to feast this weekend with maybe no wide receiver 1 or 2. Achan with a kind of a tough matchup, but he's going to get a lot of volume with their quarterback situation in Miami. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a really good matchup. I'm going to go Jeff just because I honestly think his lineup like he is number one in my power rankings. I expect this matchup to be very close and most likely high scoring. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Jeff. Jeff, I think, has a monstrous number this week.
Who was your quarterback last week?
Last week I had Carr.
Ah, you sent him on his way. Yeah, Darnold, how crazy how he's playing, but good for that guy. Good matchup here. Jeff's got a couple questionable tags. You just picked up Njoku as well. That I thought he was on the bench on the waiver wire.
No, I drafted him. I've been holding on to him.
Oh, I got you.
He's been hurt. I
That's what
don't.
it is.
I don't know if he's gonna play. I just have him in there right now as just being hopeful.
Right. You know what, Rob? I'm gonna go with you. What a great team name, great picture. Tupac Shakur.
With the middle finger, you like that?
I love it, man.
Tupac Shakir, baby. You're gonna go with me, huh?
I am. I'm gonna pick you.
I do like my squad. I like Kansas City's defense against the Chargers this week too. I don't think you want to hear that, but I do.
J.K. Dobbins is the savior.
I don't even think Herbert is healthy right now.
No, he's injured. He left the game. I don't think he's
Yeah, but
playing.
he's not going to play.
I don't think so.
Who's their backup? Do you know?
It's not Easton Story or whatever the hell that guy's name is. It's another guy.
Easton Stick.
Yeah, it's him. But then they got another. Oh, I've drawn a blank. Another veteran QB that I think is going to start.
Well, either way, not what you want there.
Nope.
Maybe high
Taylor.
volume for J.K. Dobbins though.
It's going to be Taylor Heineke to J.K. Dobbins.
God dang. You'll take it however you can get it.
I don't give a shit. Harbaugh, give me 40 fucking carries every week. That's why I got him.
All right, let's talk about the power rankings real quick going into week 4. Been talking about them. Just talked about it. Jeff's my number 1. I got me and Jim both there at 2 and 3 right now. I think our 3 teams are kind of above any other rosters at this point in the season to start the season anyway. Obviously, there's a lot of injuries out there. That's going to come back. Injuries are going to show up with us too. It's going to be a battle all season, it looks like at this point. But as of like right now, I have us three kind of like in tier one. And then in tier two, I have uh, Bird, Adam, and Jack. And then if your name wasn't called, then you come back next year. I'm just kidding. Tier three.
Well, here's what I will say about power rankings. Right now, the number one defense in the forward down the field fantasy football league has been the knee. Jeff, we all know the number one indicator. So great job. The worst defense, it'll be no surprise. The team that is in turmoil, Jack DiGiovanni. So ask me about my albatross. Ask me about your defense, dude. 7-time beer pong champion, defensive player of the year. Get it together. But yeah, Rob, there's basically a tier one list and then everyone else. So yeah, Adam, Marty, Bird, you could throw Shane in there, Jack and Drew. They're
it's
another.
still so early. Like,
Yeah.
Right now that's just how it looks, but things will change. Injuries always play a huge part, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I was trying to say the line from Happy Gilmore when he's trying out for the hockey team to start the season or start in the start of the movie, and they're like calling names, and he like gets through the whole like who made the team list, and Happy Gilmore goes, "Well, coach, what about me?" He goes, Gilmore, I called your name, didn't I?" And he's like, no, you didn't. And he's like, "Oh, well, better luck next year." That's when Happy Gilmore beats his ass. But yeah, no, good movie, good line.
Great line.
Yeah,
Yes.
man.
Well,
But
that
yeah,
was fun.
fantasy football's taking off, man.
Yep,
Big
we need.
things. I'm looking in the chat right now. Let's actually go through Discord. We got about less than a minute. What's this? Drew just said he's got 5 proposals. Jack is crying that he doesn't have any. Well, Jack, get out there and get aggressive. That's gonna wrap it up this week. Jeremy, it was a pleasure talking to you. Go Blue, go Lions.
Let's go.